Target is marked, but the signal will not hold for long.
For it is he that they feared, not man, or his armies. They feared the mark of the beast.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest, it's been a difficult year. I've lost family members, there's the pandemic, and discourse online feels like it gets more toxic by the second. It is pretty ironic then that in order to escape this veritable hell on earth, I played more, well, hell on earth. That's right, you all read the title. Today's video is on Doom Eternal, the long-awaited sequel to the surprisingly good Doom 2016. And as it currently stands, it is my choice for Game of the Year. So let's talk Doom, shall we? Honestly, it feels like I'm the target demographic for what Doom Eternal was trying to achieve. I grew up in the early 90s and I saw my dad get sucked up into playing the original Doom, and he usually wouldn't let me watch, so I had to sneak out of bed and quietly watch from the stairs in our basement. I was way too young to watch it, let alone play it back then, but when I finally got old enough, my dad showed me how to use MS-DOS, and from there it was game over. Pandora's box had been opened, and I've been shotgunning demons ever since. So we jump ahead from the early 2000s to the early 2010s, and let me tell you, it wasn't a very good time to be a Doom fan. There were multiple stories out on how the new Doom game was going to be more grounded in reality and more akin to something like Call of Duty instead of something faster and visceral like what we were used to. Luckily, the original version of Doom 4 got canned when the higher-ups at id Software realized that it just wasn't doomy enough. But there were some good ideas stewing down at id. The result was the original Doom 4 was burned to a crisp in order for Doom 2016 to rise like the phoenix from its ashes. My expectations were actually pretty grounded due to the rocky multiplayer beta, but when I finally clicked launch back in May of 2016, I was taken aback by just how well it played. I couldn't believe it. They actually didn't screw it up. The game keeps all the old school stuff that people loved about shooters from the 90s. There's tons of monsters, there's plenty of health packs scattered about, and you're able to hold more than 2 guns in your inventory at once, and it has level design that was more than just your average static hallways like every modern shooter of that era. It even included excellent resource management tools like a limited use chainsaw that turns your enemies into ammo-filled piñatas. And who could forget about the glory kills? If you get an enemy close enough to death, you'll be able to perform a Mortal Kombat style fatality depending on which way you're facing the enemy. This violent catharsis does more than just release serotonin in my smooth reptilian brain though, it also gives you health. So this turns Doom 2016 from a standard modern shooter that makes you pop out from cover to one where you are constantly moving and constantly thinking about what your next move should be. Do you shotgun those guys up close to try to get more health? Do you focus fire rockets at the large streaming further away? And when is the right time to use the chainsaw to get your ammo back? It's like the world's fastest, bloodiest match of chess, except your queen is a dude in green armor who is literally too angry to die. So where do you even go from that? For id Software directors Hugo Martin and Marty Stratton, the answer was cliche but obvious. Go to 11. Everything about Doom 2016 has been amplified. You want more callbacks to previous games in the series? You got it. Do you want more movement options? Now the double barrel shotgun has a grappling hook on it. Not cool enough for you yet, kiddo? What if it lights enemies on fire so they drop their armor shards? Was throwing grenades not useful enough in Doom 2016? Now you have a grenade launcher on your shoulders that can fire up to 2 normal grenades and 1 ice grenade to freeze enemies in place. You think the movement in Doom 2016 was fast? Now you can dash twice on the ground or in midair. Everything is bigger and better in an attempt to improve itself over its already fantastic prequel. So is it a better game? So there are a few things that make me hesitant to recommend this to others. First off would be the difficulty. This game is, in my opinion, much harder than Doom 2016. It's not an unfair difficulty though. The game gives you the tools you need to survive and then expects you to just use those tools to the best of your ability. Doom Eternal does not hold your hand at all. You need to be constantly moving in order to survive. It honestly took me a while to adjust, and there for a while every enemy encounter seemed like it was a panic attack specifically designed to make me clench my jaw. But by the time I got to the Super Gore Nest and then the Ark base, everything clicked, and from there on out I spent the rest of the game fangirling over how much fun I was having. Speaking of difficulty, one of the largest complaints you'll hear online is around the design of the Marauder, a fallen Night Sentinel that has joined the Demon Army. Essentially, the game makes you focus entirely on him whenever he shows up, and he has a very limited window of vulnerability. Put very simply, it turns into a very violent game of red light, green light. Although, if you master the mechanics, you can make his fight just as trivial as any other. I swear, Doom speedrunners are from another dimension, man. And the last thing stopping me from recommending it to others, well, it goes pretty heavy on the lore, and not all people were okay with that. And the art style is still pretty hit and miss for Doom fans, apparently. There have been a lot of complaints about the cosmetics and how some of them are just goofy and the Slayer would never wear them, but the cosmetics are optional. Hell, even if you don't like the new suit, you can unlock the Doom 2016 Praetor suit. And honestly, I really dug the art style and love that it played into the campiness of Doom, but your results may vary. Okay, so with all those negatives out of the way, what did I like about it? And simply put, it's just more Doom. More enemies, more suit upgrades, more levels that are larger with more secrets to find. The tone of the story is fantastic and builds upon the lore of the Doom Slayer. And at first I was put off by how much more colorful and slapstick some of the things are. But I really came to love the game's tone and its environments. Sure, they aren't as classic Doom as the UAC Mars base and the literal hell that we had in Doom 2016, but the new locations like the Super Gore Nest on Earth, the BFG 10,000 base on Phobos, and the Slayer's home of Taurus Nabad still managed to feel authentic to the Doom universe. I was one of the few that felt that Doom 2016 probably played it a little safe with the locations, so I loved all the crazy locales you get to see here. Some of my favorite moments in this game are when you start a fight and then the dreaded message,
"Buff totem is nearby,"
pops up. So you start scrambling to find this thing before the demons try to take your lunch money, and then out of the corner of your eye, you see it.
Now you're all in big, big trouble.
That transition from Hunted into Hunter and the utter chaos and sense of panic is what I love about Doom Eternal. The game gives you just enough control to let you do some crazy things in the heat of the moment, but you never truly feel in control. This is accentuated by the music by Mick Gordon, which is somehow even better than what he put into Doom 2016. When everything clicks, the game turns into this extremely violent yet beautiful ballet. There are some moments where the movement, along with the weapon switching, the target prioritization, it makes me feel like I'm playing a first-person equivalent of Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, and that's awesome. So, did I enjoy my time with Doom Eternal, and would I recommend it? My answer is a resounding,
well, duh.
This game was basically designed for the ground up just for me. The ultra violence, the giant levels with tons of secrets, and the mild spoilers ahead fact that the Doom Slayer is in fact the same Doom Marine from Doom 1, Doom 2, and Doom 64. So what did I learn from playing Doom Eternal? Don't fear change. A lot of people were hesitant to accept the changes from Doom 2016 when Eternal was announced. The Slayer gets a sword now? Why isn't he wearing full armor anymore? Since when did Doom Guy have a grappling hook on his shotgun? And now after playing it, I can't imagine going back and playing Doom 2016 without things like the grappling hook, the flamethrower, and the ice bombs. If at first you don't succeed, try again. This game asks a lot of you. I wasn't even sure if I was really going to like the game until a few missions in. That's when all the new mechanics just kind of clicked with me, and I've enjoyed it ever since. You can't always expect games to knock it out of the park the very moment the game starts. Games that are mechanically complex take time to teach you the mechanics, and then from there it's game on. It's okay to like things that others don't like. Some games just aren't for everyone, and honestly that's what makes media in general so interesting. Sometimes if you try to make a product that appeals to every single person out there, you're just going to end up with a watered down mess. My favorite games are ones that are somewhat flawed in one area because they focus so well on another, and because that's where they know that's where all the fun is. I don't care much for Doom Eternal's battle mode, but I can't stop playing the single player. And lastly,
The BFG 10,000, designed by Dr. Samuel Hayden as part of the Anti-Demonic Defense Grid.
I understand. Searching the coordinates to the BFG 10,000 now.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
Warning. Mars surface targeted. Safety
Would
minutes
you like me to
active.
disable the safety protocols?
contrary to popular belief, you actually can shoot a hole into Mars. So thanks for watching my video on Doom Eternal. We should have one more video to go up before the end of this year, and I'm very excited about it, so stay tuned. As far as my other favorite media from this year, I'd say my favorite album would be Palimpsest by Protest the Hero. I've loved every Protest the Hero album that's come out, and this one just might be my favorite so far. I also wasn't super into TV or movies this year either, but I did enjoy watching both Schitt's Creek and The Boys. But I'd turn away from The Boys if you're squeamish, though. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with more Games with Dad.
Initiated.
That is a weapon, not a teleporter.
The ion catapult is designed to use only approved UAC ammunition. Override loading sequence. Fire. 3, 2, 1.